Hello and welcome to Music, Movie, Sports, and Stuff podcast. And I know I haven't done many of these. Actually, I haven't done any of these for this particular podcast, but we're going to be, from time to time, getting into some interviews. And because my podcast is Music, Movie, Sports, and Stuff, you never know what you're going to get with me. But today I have the pleasure of introducing filmmaker, a little bit of acting, a little bit of writing, a little bit of everything, Emmett Loverde. Emmett, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, everybody. As Bill said, I'm a writer, director, sometime actor. I've even done a little stand-up comedy. When I was in high school, I was in a couple of musicals, so I had to do some dancing, but we're happy that that's gone by the wayside.
Can we please see that?
You know, I might have a tape of it somewhere. I was in West Side Story when I was in eighth grade.
Ladies and gentlemen, if he ever leaks that tape, I'll get it right onto the website. Don't worry. So why don't you let the audience know your background? Where do you come from? What inspired you? What made you the man you are today?
That is a very good question. I was born in Chicago, and I moved to the San Francisco Bay Area, and that is where I grew up. I grew up mainly in Berkeley, which is, some of you may have heard of the school that they have there. And then I came to Los Angeles to go to college, and I went to UCLA. I studied theater, but I always wanted to be a filmmaker. I've always had kind of, one foot in theater and one foot in film, and I love them both. And after I got out of college, I of course was staying in Los Angeles and writing scripts and trying to get them made. And I started writing plays, partly because, you write a screenplay and you have no idea whether it's ever going to be shot, and you don't know what's going to happen. And it's very expensive or at that time, it was very expensive to make a movie. So I said, well, if I write plays, I know a lot of actors and we can just put them up on the stage right here in town. So I wrote a bunch of plays and got some of them produced and got some published. And then that's right about when the cost of independent filmmaking started to come down. It was like a red balloon lowering close enough to reach. And so as soon as it came within, my reach, I started making films. And I started using some of my own plays as the basis for my films. And I've been, and the thing is, I still actually occasionally do things on stage. But my heart at this point is very much in film and filmmaking.
Yeah, that's interesting that you went from plays to films, but it really isn't, because I would say, 80% of the skills are transferable. And if you can cut your chops in the live stage setting, more than likely you can follow through in front of a camera as well. Because there's a lot of stars that have been on plays over the years in New York and LA and London, etc., that have been able to make that switch. I remember seeing an interview with, was it Matthew I forget who it was. But Jeff Daniels. I think it was Jeff Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
And he said he was on stage, and then he was in a film with Jack Nicholson. And he said, and Jack Nicholson, in terms of endearment, exactly. And Jeff goes, hi, Mr. Nicholson. I'm Mr. Daniels. I'm new to the movie industry. And he goes, well, what the kid? What did you do? And he goes, I was on stage. And Jack Nicholson was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Gets through the play. Years later, he saw him on Broadway. Said, Ah, now I get it. Good job.
Well, and the thing is, I am the son of two actors. Both my parents were stage actors primarily, and my father did, he did some TV shows and he did a couple of movies. My mother did a Disney movie way back in the '60s called Little Dog Lost, and
you know
adorable.
what? As a kid, I probably saw it.
Yeah, it was on. No, it was on the weekly, Wonderful World of Disney. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about a Welsh corgi that runs away, and the thing was that so my father, just by virtue of the fact that he loved to tell stories and he loved to talk about the business, and he was always giving me tips. And one of the things that he said to me was, he said, it's a lot easier to tell an actor to bring it down than it is to say, can we get a little more? Which means that, and a stage actor, who's been well taught, has been told to act such that they can hit the back of the house, that they can hit the rear of the auditorium, that everybody can hear them and see them. And so stage actors are usually instilled with the strength, to do that. And so when they come on a film set, some of them might be a little big, but it's much easier to say, hey, let's take it down a little bit. And usually you can get it to the point where you're very happy with the performance. So
now, I know that actors can be fickle to deal with, regardless of whether it's on stage or in front of the camera. But let's go back a touch and say you came up through the university system, you did the classical training, you did the plays. What was the break or the spark that got you into movies?
I was 11 years old, and I went to see a little movie. See, the thing is, I saw Star Wars like all the kids, and I loved it. We all love Star Wars, but Star Wars was not a revelation to me. Star Wars was a lot of fun. And then later that same year, I went to see a little movie called Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and
Ooh.
I walked out of that theater, and I I did that thing where you see everything through a frame now, and I just, that's when I said, that's what I want to do. And it's never really changed. I actually went and saw Close Encounters in 70 millimeter a couple of weeks ago in a theater, and it didn't hit me quite as hard, but it still packs a wallop. And I love that film so much.
Oh, I mean, when the ship is playing that music at the end in speakers, that must have sounded amazing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, when I first went to see it, I was late. And so I missed like the first, 5 minutes of the movie. And so I think I hid in the bathroom. It was a Saturday afternoon, so it wasn't real crowded. So I just hid in the bathroom and then went back in and saw the movie again. And unforgettable. In fact, Steven Spielberg, his mother used to have a restaurant in Los Angeles called Milk and Honey, and a friend of mine took me there. Yeah, it was really nice, and a friend of mine took me there a couple of years ago, and his mother used to come around to everybody's tables, and just say, hey, how are you? Are you enjoying the meal and everything? And so she started talking to us, and I said, you probably hear this all the time, but your son has been such an inspiration to me, and I love his work. And she kind of lit up, and she says, I'm very proud of him. And she started, and there were posters on the walls of the restaurant of Spielberg's films, and she started walking me around and showing me, like, there's this one, and he loves this one, and now it's not the same as meeting Steven Spielberg himself, but what a wonderful experience to have been, shown around by his mother.
I had a similar experience, although it was Wayne Gretzky's dad, Walter, coming out of the bathroom.
Okay.
And I know the answer, and you've revealed it to me before, but why don't you let the audience know who is your directorial inspiration?
God, I do love Spielberg, but I truly love the work of Richard Donner. That's what I told you before, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I truly love because for those of you who don't know, Richard Donner, he directed The Omen in 1976.
Didn't he do Stakeout? Did he do Stakeout?
Oh God, I don't know.
The one with Rosie
possible.
O'Donnell and
Yeah.
Rosie O'Donnell and Emilio Estevez. Was that Richard Donner? I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, he did The Goonies, he did Lethal Weapon, he did Superman, which is another landmark film for me, the 1978 Christopher Reeve movie. And I just remember, more films, and I remember thinking, this one guy did all of these different movies. Why isn't he just making the same movie and over and over again? You know what I mean? Like you see a Hitchcock movie or you see a Tarantino movie or something like that, and you say, "Oh, I see the style there."
Sorry, I was wrong about Stakeout. That was directed by John Badham. You know him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Bottom line is yes, you know him.
Games? No, I think he directed War Games.
Oh, War Game! I saw War Games in the drive-in.
Oh, that's fun.
So Richard Donner. The thing about Richard Donner was, you couldn't say that he was a comedic director per se. You couldn't say that he was a thriller director per se. You couldn't say that he was a crime director per se. He kind of encompassed all of that in his films.
He did what the script required, and he did it really well, and the movies were great. And that's the thing, is you sit through Superman and you think, wow, this person loves Superman. This was made by somebody who loves this. But then you go, wait a minute, didn't he make that Devil movie 2 years earlier with, which scared the hell out of? Do you know that I understand that the makers of The Omen, and I'm talking about the 1976 film,
yeah,
they I think they received an award from the Catholic Church for essentially for getting people to go back to church, inspiring people to rediscover their religious roots because it scared people so badly.
What was Donner a devout Catholic?
I don't know, but it's very possible because the movie certainly understands the territory, So
and I love any film with Richard Warner. Oh, or David Warner. Any film with David Warner. Oh, that death scene is among the top 5 death scenes in horror history.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Now going over your IMDb, it makes sense why Richard Donner is your favorite director, because you've dipped your toe in a few different genres. You've got some action, you've got some rom-coms, you've got some straight up dramas, you've got some horror thrillers. Tell me about I wouldn't say it's a lack of focus. I would say it's your willingness to try other genres. Why do you feel that? Is it story based, or is it just happens to be that way?
It's because I love those kinds of movies, and I mean all of those kinds of movies. The other night I was watching Air Force One, with Harrison Ford, and I'd seen it before, but I enjoyed it. It was so much fun, and John Malkovich plays a bad guy, and that's the thing, is like, I'll go see all of it. I'll go see The Terminator. I'll go see, I saw, what was that one? With her.
Aliens.
Jeffrey Combs. No,
Alien?
well, I love Alien, but
Oh,
I'm talking about
Jeffrey
Reanimator.
Combs, Reanimator. Yeah.
I mean, I'll go see. I'll see all of
It
it.
just it gives new definition to the term getting head.
Oh yes, I've always loved you. Yeah.
But before I came on with you, I just saw an interview. I didn't realize Bruce Campbell has cancer. He's announced that he has. I just happened to see. And I always kind of intertwine Combs with Campbell because they both broke about the same time. They were both in very similar feel of films, same kind of vibe, and they're both good underrated actors as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, yeah, and and they're especially. I mean, it's actually especially with Jeffrey Combs. You just look at him and you say something weird is going to happen. Like I don't. I don't know what that guy's gonna do, but he's gonna explode, or he's gonna get creepy, or which is a great way. Actually, you know who had that impression on me? And I'm not claiming to be good friends with him or anything like that, but I happened to go to college at the same time, and I was in the theater department at the same time as Jack Black.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And so I knew, I knew of him. I saw him around, and that kind of thing. We didn't run in the same social circles or anything like that. But I saw a play that he was in called Mud, and I think it was written by Bertolt Brecht, who writes some real dark stuff. And I'm not sure that. Anyway, the point is, he walks on stage for the first time in this play, and he's just standing there with his hands at his side. And he's got this weird, grin. You know what I mean? The Jack Black grin.
Yeah.
And it was first of all, the audience we just started laughing, because it was so strange and we didn't know what else to do. And right away you could feel like there's something about this guy. I don't know what he's going to do. And of course he's still, he's still unpredictable and a lot of fun to watch. But I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the person right from the start, that persona that,
Well, I'll get you to answer this question. Of all the actors you've worked with, and I include females in that, actors as an actor,
Mm-hmm.
who are a couple that stood out to you that you thought, not that you didn't think much of them, but they surprised you in a positive way?
Well, okay. I'll tell you the story of Tom Shanley. And I have known Tom since like 1987. And you're probably not going to recognize that name, but you have probably seen Tom at least half a dozen times in TV shows and movies over the years. Tom Shanley, his big, one of his first triumphs was he was in a TV series called The Yellow Rose, and it starred David Soul, and it was an offshoot, I believe, of Dallas. And Tom was one of the original cast, and I think the show only lasted a year, which is such a shame. But and I was introduced to Tom. He was appearing in the student film of one of my fraternity brothers named Bill Benson, and Tom was starring in the movie. And I just remember, when I was introduced to him, and I didn't know anything about him, but all I could think was, that guy looks like a movie star. And I was kind of intimidated, and I was, and like, how do you do and everything. And I was just like, wow, who is that guy? You felt like, like, remember in Poltergeist when the ghost comes down the stairs and it's glowing, and, and anyway, that's how I felt. It was like, this guy is glowing. This guy is this magical presence. And so I worked on that film with him. And then a couple of years later, became part of a group of filmmakers and actors and writers. And Tom was in the group as well. And we were talking about getting things off the ground. And so Tom was one of the actors that I started putting in my movies as soon as I could. You know, as soon as I started making movies, because we'd become friends by that time, and so Tom played he played a Christmas elf in my film Santa's Letters.
Okay.
He played a dual role of a Chinese food delivery man and a giant talking duck in my film She's Out of His Mind. And I mean the thing about I'm not painting a good picture. Tom is terrific. He is magnetic. He's extremely handsome, and
I just looked up his IMDb, and I don't think there's a television series in the last 30 years he hasn't made a guest appearance on.
Oh yeah,
everything from T.J. Hooker to Melrose Place to NCIS, and he's also done some writing and some. Yeah, that's great insight, because one of the series I want to do eventually is a series on character actors, because I do think that there is, in today's culture, a lot of the actors want to be Tom Cruise. They all want to be Tom Selleck. They all want to be Tom Holland. Hey, I used 3 Toms. I didn't even know. But nobody wants to be Brian Dennehy. Nobody wants to be the side guy, the Michael Rooker. Nobody wants to, but those people are important to the industry. What is your take on how you treat the lesser roles, not lesser actors, lesser roles versus your main star and your love interest?
Oh, anybody. It's almost like a game. Anybody can take over your movie with one scene. And for proof of that, all you need to do is look at Beverly Hills Cop, you know, with Serge.
Serge.
Do you want it with a twist? It's a very important.
I'll give you the banana. Or was it Damon Wayans? Here, have the banana.
Yes. And that's the thing. And you walk out of the movie and all you can think is, who was that guy? He was so funny, and he was on screen for 2 minutes, which means that you the filmmaker, you need to understand, first of all, that that's what you want. You want your movie to be stuffed with interesting people. But it's an interesting challenge because well, anyway, it's, you know, you don't want somebody to come on the screen so early who's so magnetic, and then they're not in the rest of the movie, and you the audience member sits there and says, what happened to that person that was so interesting or funny or beautiful, or what, you know, like, what can we bring that? Like, you need
I always think of Charles Durning. Like, he's one of those actors.
He's great.
That could do that role. The one I think of a lot is, he's not a side guy, but Eugene Levy in American Pie.
Okay.
Where the main character shaves his pubic region and he shakes it with a towel. But on the level below, the pubic hair gets into the next level, and Eugene Levy goes, you know, back in my day, that really wasn't that big a deal. He's just laughing. But I always have a thing for the character actors and actresses, because you can have Robert Redford in your lead, but if the rest of the cast doesn't follow through, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So,
and that's,
you know.
And that's why I feel like I just feel like everybody, you don't want anybody in your movie. I mean, if you have the time to do it and make sure everybody's as good as you can get them, you want every minute to be filled with interesting people, and hopefully they have great dialogue to speak. That would be nice.
I don't know how familiar you are with the British Hammer films. You know the Hammer films?
Oh, sure. Oh yeah.
There's one actor, Michael Ripper. Michael Ripper is the police constable. He's the barkeep. He's the barber. He's the guy that's digging ditches in the cemetery. But as soon as you see him, you know him. And, and that's what I think, like, I don't know if you've had a series of films where you've used the same actor or actress multiple times in smaller roles.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is that there's Tom Shanley and some other actors that I know came to a screening a couple of years ago of a film that we had all collaborated on. And Tom said something like, "Oh, it's another reunion of the Emmett Loverde players," which I took I took as a great compliment, and because I've always been honored that these guys will say yes, and I love the fact that somebody will willingly work with me again once they've been in something of mine.
Tom is your Sherry Moon Zombie.
I don't get the reference, but that sounds great. What is that?
Oh, Rob Zombie on his films almost always casts his wife, Sherry Moon Zombie, in the films.
Okay. Exactly.
So your homework tonight is to watch The Devil's Rejects. That's your homework tonight. Okay.
Will do.
Good film. Now let's take this in a different route.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to the 22-year-old out of UC Berkeley in 2026 looking to make it into the business? Would you say, try to get in as an intern or be a prop person or get in on the behind the scenes? Or would you think that they would push Hollywood or schmooze? How would you do it? Or advice you'd give?
That's an interesting question, because I have a different answer than I would have given a couple of years ago. What I would have said a couple of years ago would have been, move to Los Angeles or New York and start, get on whatever you can get on. But that doesn't seem to be as important anymore, to be in one of those cities. And I think what's more important is, first of all, because people are making movies everywhere. I mean, I shot a film called Without a Name in Wisconsin a little while ago, and the people that I met in Wisconsin, the actors and everything, like, they're working all the time, and they're most of their work is coming out of Chicago. But I mean, the point I'm trying to make is that there's no perfect place. Like, if you want to be an actor or you want to be a filmmaker, you need to be at such and such. You can be making movies wherever you are. And all I can say is just start making them and work with the best people you can. If you see a movie at a festival, and I'll tell you a weird little story. I was at a film festival in West Virginia a couple of years ago, and I saw this Japanese crime thriller. It was called When Florence Sleeps, or Where Florence Sleeps, and it was about a jewel heist. The name of the jewel was Florence. That's why the name came up. But anyway, it was obviously all in Japanese, and it was very well done and very well acted and expensive. I mean, it was clearly, pricey flick. And I just thought, what is going on here? Why is this at this little festival? It was called the Ingenuity Film Festival. I don't think it's around anymore, but it was in West Virginia. And so I spoke to the director was there, and then one of the producers was there, and the director didn't speak spoke very little English, so the producer was acting as his interpreter, and I didn't mean to make a beeline for those guys, but of all the films that I saw, and I saw almost everything, because it was a very small festival. I saw almost everything, and I could see that was one of the best things at that festival, and I thought, I want to know those guys. Who are they? What are they doing here? And thinking, oh, they live in Japan, and I'll probably never see them again. But it was, what the hell. So I, after the festival kind of went to bed for the night, because I think everything closed up at 9:00. I actually ran into those guys at a bar later that night, and so I pulled up a seat and sat down and started talking to them, and we all hit it off, as best we could with the language barrier.
With the language issue, yeah.
Yeah. But it was it was a lot of fun talking to them, and I found out that the producer, the director obviously lived in Japan, but the producer lived in Los Angeles, and he lives 4 blocks from me.
Wow.
So I met this guy. I had to go all the way across the country, 2,500 miles to meet this guy who lives, just down the street. And he and I have been working together ever since. And
nice.
His name is Hayato.
So the next time you went running or took a walk, you wave as you see his.
I've run into him. Yeah, I run into him,
at the grocery store, at the donut shop.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is he's produced 2 films so far, and we're hoping to make more. 2 films of mine, I should say, 2 films that I directed. His name is Hayato Mitsuishi, and that's the thing, is like, if I hadn't zeroed in and said those guys are no shade to anybody else who had a movie in that festival, but I just said, those guys, that is one of the best films at this festival. I want to talk to them. And if I hadn't, I'm not saying my life would be worse, but it was made
sure
much
helped.
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so you're essentially saying, you have some cojones and go up and talk to people.
Well, because my favorite movie of last year is called Brendan Fraser was in it, Rental Family.
Okay.
It's called Rental Family, and it's what you would call, it's like a co-production American-Japanese film, and it was written and directed by this woman named Hikari. And I was talking to Hayato, because a lot of the movies in Japanese, and it takes place in Japan, everything like that. Of course, I get very excited, whenever I have any, especially when I see a Japanese movie. I'm like, Hayato, do you know this movie? Do you know that movie? And I said, I love, my favorite movie this past year was Rental Family, and Hayato says, oh yeah, that's directed by my friend. I said,
small
really?
world.
It turns out he's friends with Hikari, and I said, please tell her that it was the best film in my opinion, it was the best film I saw last year, and I absolutely adored it. But that's the thing, is like, you don't know how close you might actually be.
It's like your 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Exactly. And if I hadn't gone to that little festival in West Virginia,
I hear you.
Now,
if you were in West Virginia, did you run into the what's the horror film with the hillbillies in West Virginia?
Oh God, so many. The Hills Have Eyes? No.
No, not The Hills Have Eyes. Oh, Wrong Turn. The whole Wrong Turn series is set in West Virginia.
Is it really? Oh God.
Okay.
Great.
Now let's take this another direction. I know that you have a movie was out last year, currently playing on Tubi.
Yes.
Why don't you let the audience know what that film's about, why they would want to watch it, and any experiences you had making the film?
It is called Without a Name, and it's about a cult. It's basically this boy gets drawn. He's about 12 years old. He gets drawn into a cult, or he gets interested in the cult, I should say. And he and his dad are going on a fishing trip, and they stop in a small town. And while they're there, while the dad's out getting some food, let's just say the boy, he doesn't get kidnapped because he goes willingly. He runs into the guys in the cult, and he just hops in the car with them. So the rest of the movie, the father is trying to get the boy back from the cult. And the cult is great if you're a kid, because you can do anything you want. You know, you can stay up as late as you want. Nobody cares about school or anything like that. It's really a free for all. There's just one problem, which is that when you hit the age of 40, things change. They don't like you as much. So anyway, the movie is about,
is it, I don't want you to give away, but is it something similar to Midsommar?
Yes, and we did shoot we shot our movie before Midsummer, but yeah, it's just, yeah. Our cult is actually a little friendlier than theirs. But
did they have as good mushrooms?
No, we know. Well, I mean, because the thing about it is that these guys, they don't even have, for our cult, I don't mean to talk about it like it's mine, but for our cult, it sells itself. They don't need to drug you. They don't need to, all they have to do is say, you can do anything you want here. And it's a free for all. And, you know, come and go as you please, that kind of thing. And it's, you throw a bunch of kids together and who knows what they're going to come up with. Oh, and there's a very pretty girl, which is part of what lures the boy into the cult. And having been a 12-year-old myself, that's a big draw.
Well, you know, going back to Hammer, one of their draws always was a nice looking girl with a low cut dress. So I understand the appeal for the younger age. Now, let's get into, what direction do you see Hollywood going into, or movie making in general going towards, that either you like or you're wary of?
Well, first of all, I try to see everything that comes out, just because, you know, it's whether it's a genre that I'm interested in or not. I just want to know what's going on. And so, of course, I saw Obsession, I saw Backrooms,
I just saw Backrooms the other night. An interesting film, a very interesting film.
And I saw Iron Lung. You know, I mean, I saw Shelby Oaks. I see these. I try to see everything, even the things that are coming. You know, like these are all from YouTubers, basically. And overall, I've been impressed by them. Some more than others. But the thing is that these are not calculated studio gambles. These are people kind of coming out of left field with a bunch of fans and supporters who are saying, you know, like, we believe in you, and we want to see your movie, whatever it happens to be. And in the case of Obsession, it seems that it was exactly what the audience wanted, and it's a huge hit. Yes.
I was just going to say, did you see the previous film to Obsession that he did called Milk and Cereal that's on YouTube?
No, I haven't seen it. But
it made my top 10 list last year. And,
was it a feature?
Or 2 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. It's called Milk and Cereal. And the director, I think for the Obsession, his budget was $750,000.
Yeah.
And he was thrilled. He was used to working with $1,200. He didn't know what to do with all this money, you know. So it's you know, and Dominic Leone with Terrifier, like the independent guys are saying there's more than one way to get your movie out there. And
Yeah,
so
and
would you agree? Would you agree there's different way? There's no one method.
I do agree. Uh, but for example, um, I happen to think that I thought that Obsession was very well made, but I also was, that was made in the city where I am, and it was made in it was made. Um, I didn't know anybody who worked on that movie, although I didn't look at the cast. I mean, I didn't look at the credit list that carefully. Maybe I've overlapped with some of them, but the thing is that I know what I'm saying is I know the territory. I know the neighborhood that he's kind of working in. I've been to the spooky store where they bought the whatever that his wish thing, his
Oh
wish
yeah, yeah,
wish
yeah.
willow,
Yep,
one wish willow.
yep.
So and that frankly I found that very heartening because I thought um, this guy is we're working in the same territory, and this thing has become a worldwide phenomenon, which means I can't sit there and go, well, I can't have a big success like that because I don't have access to a big studio, or I don't have access to, you know what I mean, all these reasons why you're not doing well. Like I don't have the huge budget and I don't have the, because those aren't excuses. And and
I
that
mean,
they did,
filmmakers like Lloyd Kaufman, Don Dohler, Roger
yeah.
Corman, those kind of directors, they never had
Mhm.
enough money to do it, but they always did, and they found the love of the movies. So I guess you got to have the love to want to put into it.
Well, and it's what my first feature film is. It's out there on YouTube and it's on Tubi and a couple of other places, and it actually does pretty well. Still, I made it. I made it in 2000, and it's called Santa's Letters, and it reflects a lot of my sensibilities at that time. When I made it. First of all, it's shot in standard definition, and for those of you who don't know, that means it's shot in basically with television cameras at a rather low resolution. It doesn't look that great. Um, it does feature Tom Shanley and a bunch of other great actors. It's about a little boy who asks Santa Claus not to come this year because there's too much yelling at his house, and it's a Christmas movie. But the thing was that it's so low budget, and half the cast is supposed to be children, and I was afraid that I was so freaked out about the idea of trying to work with a bunch of children and worrying about finding a set teacher and finding, what I mean, all that, like you can only use them for 4 hours a day and all that kind of thing.
Yep.
So I just said, I'm going to ask adult actors to play children, and we're just gonna shoot it as though they're children. They're gonna dress in shirts and clothes that children would wear, and the girls are gonna have pigtails. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna look. I don't mean to make it sound like it was a fetish thing, but I mean it's like it's supposed to be. They're supposed to be children, and I thought the cast embraced it completely, and I'm so proud of that movie. And it is so weird if you watch it, because people have said to me at first, you're going, those are supposed to be children, and then people have said after 5 minutes you don't even notice that they're not children, you just accept them, which makes me very proud. But that's what I'm saying about embracing a low budget, because we had no money for that movie. Everybody did it for free, for a deferred salary. We shot
They
in
did it for
people's
beer.
homes.
They did it for beer and pizza.
Exactly. I did feed them. I did feed them very well. And there's a scene. Well, for example, we had to shoot at a school, and we were supposed to shoot in a classroom. And I didn't know how to get inside any classroom, but I knew where a school was, and so I made my actors climb over a fence on a Saturday morning So we broke into a schoolyard and we shot in a little area, on the grounds of the school, and it looks great. And then there was another thing where I shot in a hallway in a building that we weren't supposed to be there, but I knew that nobody would be there, and
So,
as long as
you're
we
no
got in, it
stranger.
got out.
You're no stranger
What's
to
that?
guerrilla filmmaking.
Absolutely
Guerrilla
not.
filmmaking. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
The,
No, I love
the,
it.
the director I love that did that was Jean Rollin. Jean Rollin, everything was on the the guerrilla. Okay,
Oh yeah, yeah.
we're getting towards the end here, but I want to
Okay.
leave with some fun.
Yeah.
If you could direct any actor or actress in your film that you had the budget given by Warner Brothers, who would you choose and what genre would it be?
You mean who would I choose to star opposite Tom Shanley? Just kidding.
Yes,
No,
yes.
I would absolutely want Tom Shanley in anything.
No, Tom Shanley
no,
has to be the guy's friend. He has to be the friend.
And the thing is, Tom said something to me. He said, he said, I like doing your movies, Emmett, because you let me do comedies. Because Tom always gets cast as the villain or the heavy, the tough guy who comes in, says, I'm going to tell you how it is, and he does my movies and he gets to play and be, it's great. But, who I really admire is Paul Rudd. And I hope someday to have a chance to work with him. I think he's so terrific, and I don't really have much of a basis for that other than I see him in the movies and I instantly like him, and I always want to know what's going on with that guy and whatever character he happens to be playing. So
well, I like Paul Rudd because I'm a huge Rush fan, and I Love You Man was nothing but a tribute to Rush. So I absolutely
yes. I do love Rush. Yeah.
Now, who would be an actress that you would want? It doesn't have to be a love interest. Could be a mom, could be a friend, or it could be a lover. It's your movie.
Mm-hmm. God, who do I? Who I would? God, I'd work with her in a split second. Her name, Mary Louise Parker. She was in Weeds, if you remember the TV show Weeds.
Yep.
She was a semi-regular on the West Wing for a while. She was in Fried Green Tomatoes.
Yep.
She's always good. And I actually saw her on Broadway in Prelude to a Kiss many years ago. And that was the first time I'd ever seen her. And I was just like, who is that? I thought she was fantastic.
She was in Reds.
Red? Really?
Yeah. Reds and Reds 2.
Oh, you're talking about the you're not talking about the Warren Beatty film. I'm sorry.
Oh no, not from the 70s. No,
Okay.
not from the 70s.
She would have been a little good. Okay.
She might be in her 50s, but she ain't in her 80s.
Yeah, no. Yes, no, I read with all the heavies.
Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, Helen Mirren. Yeah. Okay, so what genre would be? Do you want a rom-com? Do you want an action thriller? Do you want a court drama? Do you want a horror film? What are you looking for?
Well, I want to tell you a quick story.
Okay.
Without a name, first of all, I wrote with a writing partner for many years, and his name was Larry Maraviglia. And Larry and I were writing screenplays. It was kind of, it was off and on, but it was, he was actually a friend of my father's. And I am so proud of the stuff that we did together. We actually wrote a bunch of stuff for George Hamilton, the actor. And we wrote a very funny sequel to George Hamilton's movie, Love at First Bite.
Oh, okay.
And
Leslie Nielsen.
No, you're thinking of Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, yeah.
But George plays he plays Dracula. George is very charming, and very funny.
The George, yeah. I've seen that. Yeah, that's a goofy movie. That's a goofy
It's
movie.
a goofy movie. Children of the Night, shut up. Yes, but it's anyway. So I worked with Larry for many years, and Larry and I wrote Without a Name together. And by this time, he was a little older, so he couldn't come with me to the set. But when I brought all the raw footage back, and I showed him the editing progress, and I showed him everything as we went through it, and showed him the people that I was going to cast. I mean, he was part of the whole thing. And then we finally had a screening of it at a movie theater in downtown Los Angeles, and I picked Larry up and drove him, and he got to see it, and he just loved it. And then he passed away about a month after that. That was but he was so happy. And he said something to me which I will never forget. He said, and Larry was an actor and also a playwright, a very successful playwright in the 1960s and 70s. But he said, I've never seen my name on the screen before, as a writer. So
you're gonna do a comedy.
Well, Larry and I wrote another script together, which I absolutely want to make.
Hey, Amber, how are you, sweetie?
So,
okay, now this is my first in a round of interviews that I'm going to do, and I'm going to always end them with the ultimate questions, because the podcast is called Music, Movies, Sports, and Stuff. So I'm going to ask you about one of each. One, yes. Who is your all-time favorite musical artist?
God, this is the first name that popped into my head. I absolutely adore Thomas Dolby. Not many people realize.
She blinded me with science.
Yeah, everybody knows that, but he's got a huge library of work that he did, and his music is he uses electronic instruments, but his music is so human. I absolutely love it.
He's one of those British performers that never quite had the success on this side of the pond. I'm going to do a topic on that. There's a whole bunch of bands that just never quite made it over. Okay, movies. What would be your all-time movie to sit in the theater, to rent out just for you and watch?
I've already mentioned Close Encounters, so I love that film, but
it can't be a Spielberg film.
Well, no, I wasn't going to say a Spielberg film. No, I absolutely love Richard Donner's Superman. That movie it's funny, it's exciting, it's thrilling.
Sorry, you clenched up a little bit there. What film is it?
Oh, Richard Donner's Superman.
Oh, Superman. Okay.
I love the 1978 Superman. To me, that's a perfect superhero movie, and I can't get enough of it. I think it's hysterically funny also.
I remember my dad taking me to see Superman 2 in the theater.
If you get a chance,
the one with Hackman. Yeah, I remember seeing
that. If
you
get a chance, watch the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. Because the one you saw in the theater, there's a whole story behind it, but Richard Donner came back and actually revamped Superman 2 to be the way that he would have done it, because he got fired off of it, and stuff like that. I did love both versions, but
okay. So sports, what team, if you could go to a championship game to see, would you want to see there? Or what team do you root for the most?
Well, I hope this doesn't disqualify me. I'm actually not a huge sports fan, but when I was in college, I was a photographer for the university. That was my part-time job, and they used to have me go down on the field during football games and shoot the action. And I have a shot of Troy Aikman, who was the quarterback for the UCLA Bruins at the time, throwing a football directly at the camera, and he's got this big smile on his face, and the football is directly above his head. It is one of the most beautiful pictures I have ever taken. I'm so proud of it.
So are you a UCLA fan or UC Santa Barbara?
No, I'm a UCLA fan. Yes.
Oh, UCLA. Okay. I was
Yeah.
going to say with Aikman, I didn't know if he was with Alabama at the time or if he was with UCLA because
No.
he did transfer.
Yeah.
Okay, final one. And my aunt's stuff I'm going to pull out of my hair. What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Cookies and cream. Although close second is Rocky Road. I do love Rocky Road.
I like Rocky Road. My number one is mint chocolate chip. I love a good mint chocolate chip.
Oh, nice.
Anyways, Emmett, this has been absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to have you back. We can talk about
Love to come back.
more behind the scenes, all kinds of things about the industry, anything that you're promoting, because now you're a friend of ours. You're a friend for life. So
I have a new film I'm finishing that I can't wait to tell you about.
Now, so give me a buzz. I don't want
Yes.
to ruin anything. I know that you've got things under cloak and dagger. We'll do that. Where can the good people see and hear or find you?
Well, you see the spelling of my name. Go to emmettloverde.com, and that has links to everything. It has links to my Facebook. It has links to my films on Tubi or wherever they are. Or you can find me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. So yeah, I think I'm the only Emmett Loverde on earth. So
It's funny. I was born outside of Montreal. So when I first saw your name, I thought it was Loverde.
well, to pronounce it correctly, you would say Loverde, but because it's Sicilian.
So is there an Italian touch to that?
Yeah. It's an Italian name.
Yeah.
But it's
French,
like, like you say,
Italian, French, Italian, Portuguese, they all kind of mix in together. All right. Well, Emmett, Justin, if you get ready, you can put the closing credits. Thank you very much. Thank everybody for listening. Have a great time and enjoy yourself. And remember, people, let's be good people.